The Bighorns took their first of 2 road trips to Gillette, sitting at the top of the NA3HL standings. Helena took the first 2 games of the season series on home ice back in December, but will now have to play the final 4 games of the regular season series in Gillette, Wyoming over the course of the next 4 weeks. A morning skate at the Spirit Hall Ice Arena on Friday morning helps the Bighorns prepare for tonight's game. A win tonight would put Helena closer to clinching home ice advantage in the playoffs.
Tabor Gutchick, play defense, and I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. We want to go into Gillette and get 4 points and sweep that weekend, but we got to execute. That's our biggest thing. Execution is what we need throughout the rest of the season going into playoffs.
I'm Bramlin Pollitt. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I'm a defenseman, number 10 on the Helena Bighorns. Yeah, going into it, we knew they were pretty big games as we were the top seed going into it. So everyone knew we had to play our hardest. Going into the weekend, we trained hard.
From the opening face-off, the Bighorns physically pushed the pace against the Wild. Despite being outshot in the first half of the period, Gillette scores the game's first goal on a passing play finished by Tucker Lean. Moments later, Helena answers back with a tally of their own as Adam Harvey beats Jake Turek to tie the game. The final minutes of the first period were filled with physical battles and more scoring chances, but the score remained tied at 1 apiece. For nearly the first half of the second period, both teams tighten up defensively and don't allow many scoring chances. However, Helena found itself on the penalty kill, and Gillette's Sky Solig scored to give the Wild the lead for the second time in the game. Shortly after, the game would start to turn in complexity from a fairly even back-and-forth defensive battle to an all-out war. Eric Buchholz was called for unsportsmanlike conduct after taking a hit from Gillette forward Declan Young. Even though the Wild could not convert on their second power play opportunity of the night, the stage is now set for a physical showdown between the league's top 2 teams. The Wild take a 2-1 lead into the locker room after the second period of play. Helena began the third period fighting neutral zone battles and unable to penetrate into their offensive zone. Declan Young scores for the Wild to take a 3-1 lead early in the frame. But the Bighorns would soon come to life, thanks to an Eric Gibney wrist shot. Shortly after the midway point of the frame, Adam Harvey scores his second of the night to tie the game. Buchholz faces a flurry of shots from the Wild, but is equal to the task. Regulation time is beginning to run out, and the tensions between these 2 teams couldn't be higher. The next goal could very well decide the winner of this game. 3-on-3 sudden death hockey is played in overtime, which opens up more space on the ice to create plays. Inversely, there's more ice to cover defensively, and one mistake can lead to a game-ending goal, which is exactly how it happens tonight. Gillette scores and brings this game to a close, and come within 1 win of taking over first place in the NA3HL standings.
Being in a tight game, emotions were high and it was very competitive, but it's not the best, but we just have to roll with what happened and go forward and prepare for next time we meet them.
The pace of Saturday's game is certainly as intense as last night's, although the first period shows less physical confrontation. The Bighorns get on the board early with a goal from Tyler Green. Moments later, Helena finds itself in penalty trouble, and Gillette's Declan Young ties it up with the 5-on-3 man advantage. The first period ends with a total of 34 shots on goal between the two teams. Zach Slinger scores at the beginning of the second, giving Gillette a 1-goal lead. Helena could only get a few scoring chances through the tough Wild defense for most of the period. At the other end, Eric Buchholz continues to play his game, turning away another 22 shots in this period until Carson Cooch netted a short-handed goal late in the frame. While the Bighorns found an answer to the Wild's defensive scheme in the third period, they could not yet solve the goaltending of Jack Orchard until the middle of the third period. Branwyn Pollitt buried a rebound off of Liam Bland's initial shot. And only 3 minutes later, Jonathan Peterson ties the game at 3 goals apiece with a snapshot that beats Orchard high. The Bighorns, now riding a full wave of momentum, score once more. But the play is disputed. Not only is the goal disallowed, but Tyler Green is sent to the box for interference.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, that sucks to get that goal called off, and to somehow get a penalty off that doesn't make sense to me. But there's nothing we can do about it. We can't control the refs or what calls they make at the end of the day.
Buchholz remains solid in net for Helena, turning aside all the scoring chances Gillette could throw at him for the rest of the period. Once again, the game would require overtime to determine a winner. A high stick to the face of Liam Bland draws a penalty to the Wild. In overtime, since it is played 3-on-3, instead of taking away a man when a team has been penalized, the opposing team adds a player. And at 4-on-3, Helena nearly ended this game numerous times. But the penalty time expired, and soon after, so did the game. The Bighorns losing once again 4-3 in overtime in Gillette. The Wild take over as the league's top team, and now lead the Frontier Division by 1 point. Since returning home from Gillette, the Bighorns have gone 3 wins and 1 loss against its opponents. Helena is now back on the road to Gillette.
Yeah, overall we know that this weekend coming up dictates our seeding in the playoffs, which we should have, being the home seed for both rounds. But I think coming into tomorrow we're going to really put our heads down and as a team work on what we have to, come together more, work on some systems, some special teams, and really execute in areas that we have to win the 2 games this weekend.
We know the refs are going to keep it tight this weekend going into it, so we just got to learn from our mistakes. And if we go in there and play our game, we don't even have to worry about the refs because we'll put up 6 on them and walk out of there with 4 points in first place. So we just got to keep that mindset and not worry about any outside noise. We don't got to worry about the refs, their fans, nothing like that. We just got to focus on putting the puck in the back of their net and keeping the puck out of ours.